You need to stop being a slave to logic because logic is a prison. Many people say that you need to be realistic or it's not logical, it's not practical. But to create the life you want, logic is the enemy. I mean, logic is needed because you don't fall off a cliff because there's logic, right? It is illogical for you to jump off a cliff because you need to live your life, right? Because so logic has its place. But to create the life you want, to manifest your dream reality, logic is a limitation. So to understand why logic is a limitation, first we need to understand what logic is and how it operates, right? So logic is a backwards looking system, right? It creates logic. A thing seems illogical or logical based on what you've experienced in the past, right? Logic references your past experiences, your current circumstances, and creates evidence of what's possible, right? Your logic looks at your past, and it looks at the past and it says, okay, this has what happened in the past. So it creates a scenario where some things are illogical to the mind and some things are logical to the mind. If you've never made $1 million in your life, that is illogical to you. That seems like an illogical goal to you, right? Because you have never made that much amount of money. If I say that you can make $1 million a month, how does that seem to you? Most probably it might seem illogical to you because you have never experienced that in your life. But here they are, 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds, people who are in the early 20s making millions and millions of dollars that we can see on the internet. How is it possible for them? How is it logical for them? Because they are not being a slave to their logical mind. They are not being a slave to their analytical mind, right? Now, if you are being a slave to your logical mind, then if I say that you can make $1 million a month, that might seem illogical to you, right? So your logic is limiting you. It doesn't even have to be $1 million a month. Even if I say you can make $10,000 a month, if that seems like a crazy goal to you, if that seems like, oh my God, how can I achieve it? That process of thinking is logic. That is logic limiting you, right? So your logic, it takes your past and projects it into the future. I haven't made $1 million in the past, so how can I make $1 million in the future? I have never had a good relationship in the past. All men are trash. So I can never find any other men as well. How can I find a man that is suitable to me? How can I find a woman that is suitable to me? It has not happened to me in the past, so how can it happen in the future? Your logic takes your past and projects it to the future, and thereby ruining your manifestations. So the moment you listen to your logic, you are trapped, you are limited. The moment you listen to it, the moment you engage with logic, the moment you let your logical mind take over, you ruin your manifestations. Because manifestation is all about conviction. It's about knowing something will happen. It's about being confident that something will happen. It is about faith, right? Now, when you bring logic to the equation, you start figuring out how can it be possible. Now, let's say you want to make $10,000 a month, and you know you will make $10,000 a month, but if you let your logical mind become active, and if you let it into your thinking, then you will start wondering, okay, how is it even possible? Okay, I'm in a stable job, I'm making like $25 an hour. How can I do it? If I should I try a business? Should I go for a better job? When you start thinking logically, then that $10,000 per month goal seems illogical to you because you can't figure out a way right now. And it is not your job to figure out the how if you don't know it. If you already know how you can do it, then it's perfect. But if you don't know how you can do it, then you let the universe do it for you. You just set an intention. You set a goal that okay, I will achieve $10,000 a month. I am rich. I am making $10,000 a month. If you are in the right frequency, if you are in the frequency of making $10,000 a month, then the process will show itself to you. Your intuition will guide you if you are in the right frequency, right? But this process will entirely be ruined if you listen to logic, right? So let's understand how logic is formed, right? So logic is originated from ego, and your ego doesn't want you to live in your dream reality, because if you want to live in your dream reality, then that means you need to take risks, right? So for your ego, safety means survival, right? If you are safe, then that means your ego can rest. Anything that risks your survival, then your ego will not allow you to do it, right? But this doesn't just mean physical survival, right? Millions of years ago, when humans were in jungles hunting down food, they needed to be aware of their surrounding. They needed to be aware of predators who can hunt them, right? So their ego was always active. They can't even have a good night's sleep properly, right? So that primal mind is still within ourselves. So your ego really thinks that you are in a survival mode, you are in risk. Let me give you an example. So let's say you have a last $1,000 in your bank account and you invest it into a course or into a coaching program or into anything that educates you. So by educating yourself, you attain a skill, right? Now that might seem illogical to the collective mind. That may seem illogical to your rational mind, right? But in the long run, that might be the most beneficial thing that you have done in your entire life. But you will not know it, because if you let your logical mind take over, then you will not do the right action, right? It seems illogical because your ego is originating that logic in your mind, right? Logic comes from ego. And if you put the last $1,000 into a product that gives you a skill, that gives you knowledge, that makes you learn, but that seems illogical because you are risking your survival, because that is the last $1,000 you have. But if you are in the frequency that you can always get money whenever you struggle for it, you can always get money, you can always be abundant. If you are in the right frequency, then of course money will show up. But the logical mind, but the ego can't understand it. Right? The ego doesn't understand frequency, the ego doesn't understand anything that I've been talking about in this channel. It only understands survival. And it wants you to survive physically and mentally. It wants your beliefs to survive. It wants your worldview to survive, not just physically. Whatever beliefs, identity, paradigm, worldview that you have, it wants to survive. Your ego wants that to survive, right? So your ego uses logic against you, because anything that feels dangerous, it will use logic against you to make sure you don't do it. If you are in a low paying job and you want to break out of it, you want to be financially free, then of course you need to start a business. Of course you need to take certain risks. But that might seem illogical because your ego doesn't want to do it. Because anything risky, anything that feels dangerous, your ego doesn't want you to do. Your ego doesn't want you to do it. It wants things to stay the same, right? Because if things stay the same, then that means you are alive. That means you will live. That means safety, right? So stop listening to your ego. Then that means stop listening to your logic. I'm not saying be completely irrational, be completely logical, do crazy things. No, I'm not saying that, right? You need to understand that logic has its limitations. You being a rational person, you being a logical person, doesn't serve you in the long run. It doesn't serve you if you want to manifest your dream reality, if you want to live in your dream reality. If you have been making $1,000 a month and if you want to make $1,000,000, you listening to your logic doesn't make sense, right? So your ego uses logic to make you look stupid, right? Let me give you an example. So let's say you have been making $2,000 per month, but your goal is make $100,000 per month. Now, if you need to make this much amount of money, then you need to shift internally so much that your entire belief system, your entire identity, your entire frequency must change. You need to leave your old reality behind. But you leaving your old reality behind means it is risk, it is dangerous for your ego, for your logical mind, right? So your ego wants you to stay within this zone because that means safety, that means comfort. So if you want to make this much amount of money, then you need to completely leave out your old reality, you need to completely leave out your comfort zone. But your logical mind doesn't want that, right? And the people around you, right, the people that love you, the people that want you to be safe, the people that want you to live a happy life, they also don't want you to have these crazy goals, right? Because they are also stuck within the logical mind. It is not realistic, it is not logical, it is not practical. Don't live in a delusion. I already have made a previous video that you need to be delusional if you have crazy goals, right? So if the people around you also say that this is illogical because they are also running the same program in their mind, then it will seem more illogical to you, it will seem more crazy to you to have a goal like this. But against all the odds, people are just programs, right? people they are People are just a collective of beliefs, thoughts, and patterns that they have experienced in the past. Whatever they have experienced in the past, that has formed their belief, that has formed their worldview. Because logic is a backwards looking system, it can't predict the future, it doesn't know how to build a future that you actually want. It doesn't know that. So what is even the point? If you have goals in your life, if you have dreams in your life, what is actually the point of listening to logic? This is completely illogical. Yes, to your rational mind, this is illogical. If you've never had a romantic partner, then finding true love can be illogical. People will say, first you need to date, 100 people, you need to sleep with 100 people, all this crazy stuff that people say on the internet, because people can't conceive that you can find true love if you intend for it, right? If you truly set your intention, you need to, yeah, that I can find true love, that I am in true love, then of course you will find the right person in the right time, right? My first relationship was my true love, right? I didn't have 10 relationships. The first person that I fell in love with, it was successful. It is still ongoing. It is very strong, right? Because I set an intention that I will find true love. I know I will find true love. And of course I did, right? And of course I will make this much amount of money. Of course I will make $1 million. Of course. Because I find it very normal. It is completely logical for me. But is it logical for you? Right? For many people, let alone let alone 100,000, many people can't even conceive of making $10,000 a month. Right? They can't conceive making 5 figures a month because it is illogical for them. Please understand that logic is a trap. I know I'm repeating myself, right? I know I'm repeating myself, but it is very much hard to break people out of their logical minds. This entire video might seem illogical to you. If you identify yourself as a rational person, then of course this video will be illogical to you. But let me show you something. You only experience less than 1% of reality, right? Less than 1%. It's not even 1%. So if you with your five senses, if you experience reality not fully, but on a tiny minuscule amount, right, then most of it is an illusion. Your physical reality is an illusion. You think this is physical matter, right? I am matter, you are matter. This is a physical plane, and we are made up of atoms, right? But 99.9999999% of atoms are just empty space, right? So that's a force that is holding all of this together. So that means physical reality is an illusion. Nothing is solid. It is just tiny atoms, which is 99.999% of space that is getting held together by a force, right? So we have already talked about this. Creation happens in the mental plane. And logic is a construct of physical plane. Logic is defined by humans. Logic is defined by people. Logic is a construct that's created in the physical plane, but the physical plane itself is an illusion. So logic is also an illusion. Whatever seems logical to me might seem illogical to you. Whatever seems logical to you will seem illogical to me. You thinking that I can't make $1 million is very illogical to me. Whatever beliefs you have, it will make or break your reality, right? So if physical reality itself is an illusion, then why the hell are you stuck with a construct that was created in the physical plane? Logic is subjective. Logic and rationality is subjective to people. It's not an objective reality. It's not absolute. So then why do you why do you get stuck with logic? I don't share my goals. I don't share my dreams to people, right? It is very, very rare for me to share my goals publicly or even to my loved ones, to my the people that are close to me. Why? Because they can't even conceive of the goals that I have. Their logical mind is being rampant in their mind, right? So realize logic, having logic is actually logical, right? If that logic doesn't serve your goals, then having that particular logic is illogical, and that serves as a limitation, right? So first you realize this, and second, Have goals you actually want. Don't don't have a goal just because that doesn't seem logical to you. No goals is logical, no goal is irrational, no goal is not within your reach, right? Just because someone else says it is not practical doesn't mean you don't need to have it. You need to have it because that can be your purpose, that can be your life mission. You were incarnated on this planet for a reason, right? So don't deny yourself. Don't tie your self-worth to other people. Don't tie your self-worth to logic. It is just a construct of physical plane. So have the goals you actually want. And the third, the most important point is, you can ask, okay, you are saying that logic is illogical if it doesn't serve my goals. So, but I, but I can't even conceive of making that much amount of dollars. I can't even conceive that I can find true love. Of course, you have been conditioned, you have been trained all these years listening to your logical mind. So you yourself will not believe that you can achieve it. So what you can do? And the third step is imagination. Use your imaginative power and imagine yourself feeling how you would feel if you achieved your goals. Act, right? Act as if when we were children, we would act as if that we were superheroes. That when I was a child, I would play as a ranger who fights off this alien invasion on our planet. That was truly joyful. So act as if, imagine you are a child and act as if that if throw all logic aside and just imagine how I would feel if I make $1 million. Oh my God, I can buy so much stuff. I can live my dream reality. I don't need to worry about bills ever again. Now, if you do that, imagine without any attachment, right? Because you're just acting as if you're imagining yourself in that scenario. There's no attachment over here. Let the emotions pile up. Feel it, right? Throughout your day, imagine particular scenarios of you living in a dream reality. If money is a problem, then imagine yourself of a reality where money is never a problem. You can buy houses, you can buy yachts, you can buy whatever you want, right? And you do this in a playful way. Don't get attached to it. You do this, importantly, you do this in a playful way and let those emotions come up. And the more you do this, if you do it consistently, that particular reality that you have been feeling all these days, that will start seeming logical to you. See how crazy it is. Before this process, the goal, the reality that you wanted seemed illogical to you. But the more you imagine yourself being in that reality, that particular goal will start seeming normal to you. It will start seeming logical to you, right? That is the end goal of this video, right? Use all your five senses when you imagine. What would you taste? What would you smell? Who would you touch? What would you hear? Use all your use all your five senses as vividly as possible, right? And the more you do this, the more the reality will seem normal to you. And when you do this entire process, when you do this entire process without trying to bring logic into it, because you're doing this in a playful way, you, of course, you don't imagine how will I achieve it, right? So once you do this, naturally your intuition will guide you, and it is your job to listen to it. When you're living your life, a spark will come up. Okay, I can do this. It may seem illogical. Your intuition is never logical, right? When you do this, you will be in the right frequency, and when you are in the right frequency, you will get this intuitive signs on taking certain actions. Maybe you will get an intuitive sign to start a YouTube channel. Maybe you'll get an intuitive sign to take a job that you heard about, right? So when you start receiving this intuitive signs, listen to it. And if you need to know how you can figure it out, how to know whether it is intuition or whether it is just noise, it is very simple. Whatever intuitive signs that you are getting, if you feel good about it, then that is probably your intuition. right? So if your intuition says start a YouTube channel, then if you feel good about it, if you feel good about imagining yourself doing it, then that is your intuition. That is how you filter out the noise from the intuition, right? So first know that logic is a limitation. It is just a construct created in the physical plane. It is just ego playing tricks with you, right? And then have goals that you actually want, and then imagine yourself, act as if you achieve that goal. Imagine how you would feel if you were in that reality, and let yourself feel those emotions pile up, feel it, and if you do this long enough, that particular reality will start seeming logical to you. That means you are in the right frequency. And finally, you can let your intuition guide you. You can let your intuition say what actions you need to take in order for you to actually be in that reality, in order to materialize that reality into the physical plane. So that's it from me, and I have an announcement to make. I am creating a free community with a free course which will be insanely valuable for all you people, right? So if you have been watching this video till now, I am in the process of finishing it, and so after some time you will see a link in the description. Make sure you join so that you can talk directly with me. You can directly talk with other people who's watching my channel as well. And yeah, I will see you in another video.